Notice the growing distance from your wife. Your chats, less warmth, maybe even the phrase, I need some space, or hints at even living separately going forward. And as someone who likes to solve problems and is potentially very logic driven, you're probably wondering, what went wrong? How do I handle this without making it worse? This video isn't about assigning blame or unloading emotions. It's a straightforward look at 5 common missteps that men make when their wife asks for space that can end up pushing their partner even further away. Recognizing these pitfalls and adjusting your approach can not only help you navigate this challenging situation more effectively, but also rebuild some of that lost connection from years of a strained relationship. Before we go any further, I just wanted to welcome you to our channel, Genuinely Reconnected, where we specifically help logic-focused and emotionally distant men rebuild connection in their marriage. My name is Mark, and I'm a 36-year-old husband and father who's been with my wife for 8 years now. As someone with a CPA and MBA, I'm someone who's naturally very logic-focused and emotionally distant myself, but learned the hard way when my relationship almost fell apart in 2020, what it takes to truly be connected to my partner and allow for our relationship to thrive. And after years of studying relationship dynamics and even completing a master's in counseling psychology, I created this channel to help other men just like myself. So let's get into it. Mistake number 1 when your wife asks for space is overdoing grand gestures. The impulse: when your wife asks for room to breathe, your solution mode brain kicks in. Plan an extravagant dinner, maybe a weekend getaway, or buy her an impressive gift. Why this backfires? Big gestures presume that a flashy reset will heal deeper issues. She's not uncertain about your resources or intentions. She's unsettled by a lack of real connection and being genuinely heard. A lavish weekend can seem like a superficial cover-up, signaling you don't grasp the root problems in your relationship. A better approach? Press pause. Respect the space she requested. This is a challenge to conquer, but a moment she needs to process. Depending on what your level of conversation is in the moment, instead of a grand gesture, choose modest, deliberate steps. Invite her to share what's on her mind, or set aside 20 uninterrupted minutes together, simply listening. Small, consistent actions focused on understanding will lay a firmer foundation than any single grand gesture. Mistake number 2, constantly checking in. The impulse: the silence feels unbearable, so you keep seeking reassurance to address your own anxiety. You might keep checking in, whether it be in person or through calls or texts. Why this backfires? Every message, although well-meaning, invades the very space she asked for. It's less about keeping the connection alive and more about easing your own anxiety. To her, it can translate as pressure, amplifying her need to pull even further back. Better approach? Scale back this non-meaningful contact that just feels invasive or pushy. Use the extra time to manage your own stress, whether through exercise, hobbies, or quiet reflection. Showing you can stay steady on your own demonstrates respect for her boundaries and confidence that you don't need constant reassurance. Mistake number 3, reacting with petty or aggressive behaviors. The impulse: hurt by your wife's distance, you resort to sarcasm, cold shrugs or tactics, or even flirting with someone else to get a reaction out of her. Why this backfires? These types of responses are more about defending your own ego rather than addressing the real issue. They send the message that you can't handle tough situations maturely, reinforcing your wife's belief that something fundamental is off in the relationship. A better approach? Acknowledge your own discomfort privately. Journaling, venting to a close confidant, or even engaging in physical activity might help. When interacting, try to keep your demeanor calm and respectful. If you need to express how the distance affects you, try to do so honestly and respectfully. For example, something along the lines of, "Admit, having this much space feels hard, but I respect it." No games, just clarity. Mistake number 4, immediately going on the defensive. The impulse: when she finally opens up about her feelings, you instinctively counter, "But I've been working so hard for us," or "You're overlooking the things I do to make sure our household is thriving." Why this backfires? Defensiveness shuts down real dialogue. You're diminishing your wife's perspective to protect your own self-image rather than truly observing what she's sharing. That interrupts the flow of communication and convinces her it's unsafe to be vulnerable. Better approach? Listen fully. Resist any urge to respond right away. Instead, reflect back what you've heard. Sounds like you feel I've been checked out of our marriage for some time. To show you're trying to understand, not refute. When you do speak, aim to ask open-ended questions that really help you understand what's going on, such as, "Can you tell me more about what felt missing?" This kind of active listening creates space for honest exchange. Mistake number 5, minimizing the situation. The impulse: you tell yourself your wife's just stressed or overreacting. that this situation will pass without any real effort or change on your part. Why this backfires? Treating your wife's request for space as a temporary hiccup dismisses her experience. As a result, moments of feeling unheard or unsupported accumulate over time. You assuming they'll resolve on their own leaves those moments unaddressed and deepens her sense of being overlooked. Better approach: accept that this is a real issue demanding real attention. Frame the situation as a problem to be understood. What brought us here, rather than something to be shrugged off. If your wife's not ready to dive in, respect that, but stay mentally tuned in. Showing you take her feelings seriously signals you're committed to working through whatever comes next. To summarize, the 5 things you want to be aware of not doing when your wife asks for space is overdoing grand gestures, constantly checking in, reacting with petty or aggressive behaviors, immediately going on the defensive, and minimizing the situation. Once again, when your wife asks for distance, even if that means living apart for now, how you respond during these early days can define the path forward. Instead of chasing big fixes, aim for steady, thoughtful actions. Listening without defense, honoring her need for space, and keeping your own balance. This isn't a quick shortcut back to normal. It's a deliberate reset rooted in respect and genuine connection. If you approach it this way, you'll be better positioned to rebuild trust and closeness when she's ready. Stay intentional, stay calm, and remember, growth often starts in uncomfortable places.